All right, what's up, Bulldogs? Someone challenged me to come up with the three biggest lies that men believe about women and how they're hurting you. And I thought, okay, challenge accepted. This is a good one. So I had to kind of go and think about this for a bit to come up with what I think are probably the top three. There's a lot I could throw in. There's a ton of lies that guys believe about women, but these are pretty much the top three that I have discovered myself and from coaching guys. And let's just get into it, right? So the first one is that women only like chads. Okay, this is ridiculous. All right, and let me tell you why. Because there's no such thing as a chad. You might think that there is, but there is not. All right, even the images that you're seeing, you've probably never seen a real chad in real life. You think you might have, but you haven't. You see images, a lot of images are doctored, a lot of it is lighting, a lot of it is photoshopped. I'm not saying that there's not attractive guys out there or even really attractive guys, but this idea of a chad is a wrong idea. Okay, it's just weird to call another guy a chad as well. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to yourself? It doesn't make sense, right? So it's true that 80% of women want the top 20% of guys. That is true. Is it true that 80% of women are going to get the top 20% of guys? Not a commitment. It may be true that 80% of women will sleep with the top 20% of guys. That may be true. And those top 20% of guys will have access to those women. That is true. Would you call those guys chads? No, not necessarily. Okay? Because these guys, it's not just going to be their physical looks. It's going to be their money. Okay? It's going to be their success, their status. It's going to be their social skills. It's going to be their opportunities of where they are and the context in which they're in which creates that social status for them, right? So you can be one of these top 20% of guys. That's 1 out of 5, okay? Most guys aren't even in the running. They're not even quality enough. If you just looked at not being overweight, not being extremely overweight, you would eliminate 50% of guys. 50% of guys are completely out of shape. If you have a good physique, if you are in shape, if you go to the gym, if you run, if you work out, if you're at sub 15% body fat, you're already probably in the top 20% of guys. Now, maybe you're in the top 30 or 40%. It doesn't take much for you to get to the top 20%. Beating out 4 out of 5 guys, being 1 in 5, not hard at all. Okay, I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's not hard. It's becoming easier every day because guys are just checking out. They're giving up. They're not even trying anymore. They're just addicted to video games and porn. So it's not hard. So don't call someone else a chad. It's ridiculous because it's setting a bar too high and it's making it be so genetic based. You don't know what your face will look like until you can see your abs. All right, I'll repeat that. You don't know what your face will look like until you can see your abs. Once you have developed yourself and you've gotten lean, your face is going to look different, a lot different. Yeah, there's some features that are not going to change, obviously. But the level of attractiveness that you will have, you don't even know yet because you haven't unlocked it. Now, yeah, if you've done all the things, you've gotten jacked, you've gotten ripped and lean, and you feel like you're still not very attractive, that's fine. Okay, it can still be made up for. But this idea, this concept of women only liking chads, it's ridiculous. It is true that women want the top 20% of men. That is true. But don't believe the lie that women only want chads. In fact, you can be a guy that is below average in looks and attract very attractive women. I know that it seems like that's not the case. And it's very hard to do that because it's hard to be that guy, especially in the society that we have today, and have confidence. But you've seen it, right? You've seen guys that are not good looking, but they don't know it because they have so much success with women. So they just act like they are. You've seen fat guys like this. You've seen skinny guys like this. You've seen average guys like this that for some reason they're successful with women. And the reason why is because they don't care. It's a very feminine thing to be obsessed about your looks. Okay, it really is. And so when you have a guy that's very, very masculine, he doesn't care. He doesn't care what he looks like in that sense. He doesn't think about that much. He doesn't obsess over that. He doesn't see that as any kind of barrier to his life, right? And so you're really tripping yourself up and it's really hurting you believing that women only like chads because it's a fixed mindset. It's telling you that there's nothing you can do. It's genetically, it's giving you excuses. That's not your fault. I've never, ever seen a guy, in all of my coaching and all the guys that I've talked to, I've never seen a guy that had visible six-pack abs and had a difficult time with women. I've never seen it. I've seen lots of guys complain and bitch and say that women only like chads, but I've never seen it. And that's within your control. Now, I'm not saying that just getting to a low body fat is going to make you God's gift to women. That's not the case. And don't believe that just by doing that women are going to start coming up to you and chasing you down. That's not the case either. But what I'm saying is that someone that has that level of dedication and that amount of growth mindset always finds their way to the top 20% or 10% of men and has success with women. So start there. Start with the stuff that you can control, and you're going to start to see results. The second thing, romance makes you a simp. This is not true at all. Again, for some reason, men today have been brainwashed in thinking that if they are romantic, if they try to do anything that is complimentary or seductive towards a woman, then that they are a simp and that she will lose attraction for them, right? There's a lot of guys out there on the internet that give you this kind of BS, and it's based on truth, okay? Why is it based on truth? Because it is true that women prefer assholes to nice guys. It is true, okay? I did a video. You can watch it. We'll put a card up here for the 4 types of men, right? There's 4 types of men. It's not just nice guy or asshole. There's gentleman and there's narcissist in there. And a gentleman is a combination of the good traits, and a narcissist is a combination of the bad, or is one of the bad traits, okay? Whereas an asshole, or actually a narcissist is a combination of both of the bad traits, all right? And these traits are caring about people and caring about what they think. Those are the 2 axes that determine what kind of guy you are, okay? And so the short of this is that being romantic, being seductive, treating women well, that does not in any way affect the physical attraction that a woman has for you. Let me repeat that. How you treat a woman in terms of treating her well, complimenting her, that doesn't matter, right? And to a degree, you know this because guys will say, oh yeah, if you're a good looking guy, then when you approach a woman or talk to her, then she likes compliments. Otherwise, you're a creep. You're close. The answer is it's whether you care about what people think, specifically if you care, what you care about what people think about you. You see, when you deliver a compliment to a woman, when you tell her that she's gorgeous or beautiful, if you do that in a way where you care about what she thinks about you, then it's conveyed in those words in the way that you're saying it, and it comes across as needy, which makes her not attracted to you. If you tell a woman she's gorgeous, but there's no attachment in those words to caring how she thinks about you or how she feels about you, if you just say it because you believe it and you don't care, her opinion of you doesn't matter. There's so many other women. It's not important at all. And you don't care what anyone thinks about you. You just do what you want to do. You say what you want to do. It comes across different. It comes across as an actual compliment. It comes across as romantic. It creates attraction. Because women want to be romanced. They want to be seduced. There's a reason why women read romance novels. It would be so stupid to believe, and this is the lie that men believe, is that women don't like romance. That if you romance a woman, if you, quote, put her on a pedestal, that you're going to be a simp and she's going to lose attraction for you. Why do women obsess about romance? And why do women obsess about love stories and sappy movies? Is it just because it's the Chad that's doing those things? No, you're kind of right in the sense that he has the attitude of a Chad, right? But in a novel, she's making up a vision in her head. She's not even seeing it. It's not even registering. There's not a real guy there. It's how he's behaving. So if you believe that romance and being romantic, treating women kindly and making romantic gestures makes you a simp, you're getting it all wrong. You can attract women without doing those things by being an asshole. Yes, you can. But if you really want to win the heart of a woman, if you want her to be obsessed with you and not just obsessed with getting validation from you because you have act like an asshole and treated her poorly and she's suffered from trauma in her past and maybe has daddy issues, and so she's trying to gain your validation, and as soon as you give it to her, she's not going to want you anymore. If you want to avoid that trap, you do romance women, but you have to learn first to not care what other people think, and that's the challenge. How do you do that? Join the Bulldog Mindset membership. No, but seriously, like, you have to develop the mindset by succeeding in other areas of your life. Go to the gym, build your physique, build a business, read a lot of books, become a champion, become a warrior, become a bulldog. And then you don't care so much what other people think because you know what you're made of. And then when you come into interactions with women, you're going to be a lot more successful, okay? The third one here is cold approach is dead. This is such utter bullshit. Cold approach is not dead, and it will never be dead. All right. In fact, it's easier than it has been in a long time. I won't say that it's easier than it's ever been, because there was some golden era where guys first started really figuring this out back 20 years ago, and that was probably the time it was the easiest, honestly. But so many guys are afraid today that you have so many opportunities. So many guys are like, oh, I'm going to get Me Too'd and all this, and it'll be harassment if I'm not good looking. Bullshit. That's just such pathetic bullshit excuses. I have never ever had an interaction, encounter with a woman or anyone that I've coached where that was the case. Never. I'm not saying that it can never ever happen, but yeah, you can also get hit by a car crossing the street. You can die in a plane crash. Like, there's so many ways that the odds can work against you, but you don't avoid doing things just because there's some chance of failure. It's minuscule, right? Women today are not approached as often, or they're approached by the same guys that that actually have the balls to do it. If you're on dating apps all the time and you're thinking that that's what the world is, you're wrong. You are putting yourself up in a beauty pageant, and you're asking women to pick you as a beauty pageant contestant. I'm not saying that you can't, but it's pathetic. Is that how you're valuing yourself as a man, as a beauty pageant? Because that's all it is. It's a beauty pageant. When women are swiping on dating apps, it is literally a beauty pageant. They're just picking, oh, this guy looks attractive. They don't know anything else about you. They don't know how masculine you are. They're just getting a perception from that. And so if you're basing your whole life off of that and thinking that cold approach is dead, that's the only way, then you are becoming a glorified beauty pageant contestant. And that's what you're obsessing about. And then what happens when you win the beauty pageant? The woman selects you. You don't know how to be a man. You don't know how to flirt. You don't know how to be attractive. You don't know game. That's why so many guys that I coach, they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting all these matches. Women, I go on a date with them, and then I never hear from them again, or I go on a couple dates and I never close the deal. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, I talk to them. I ask them if they want to come to my place. And I'm like, why is it taking so long? Like, if a woman matched with you on a dating app and she goes on a date with you, start making out with her. She's shown to try. Like, you need to advance it, but they don't have an idea of how to do it because they haven't gone out and cold approached. They don't have any skills. They're just beauty pageant contestants. They have nothing. They have no real masculine. Their presence isn't masculine. They walk up to a woman that they've met on a dating app, and the woman immediately senses their physical presence that it's weak. So cold approach is not dead. It's essential. If you do not learn cold approach as a man, you are not a man, right? I've said there's 3 things all men must face. One of them is the fear of their mortality. They must be able to enter combat. The second one is to be a self-made man. They have to be able to make their own money, not just get a paycheck, but be able to somehow be a self-made man. And the third one is they have to be able to cold approach a woman. They have to be able to have that skill. If you don't have that, you're not a man. If you want to become a man, join the Bulldog Mindset membership, and I'll help you. I'll see you tomorrow.